Toby. This is a story about Toby the tram engine. Toby loved people, but everyone thought he was old-fashioned. He felt very sad until one day someone came to his rescue. Toby the tram engine had cow catchers and side plates, and a coach called Henrietta. Toby loved people, and was always happy when he could help them out. He was such a cheerful engine that people liked to help him too. Toby and Henrietta worked on a little line near the holiday town, and they worked very hard, taking trucks from the farms to the main line, but they had few passengers. "It's not fair," grumbled Henrietta. One day, the buses were always full of passengers. Even though they often had accidents. We never get, but we hardly get. We never had accidents, but we've hardly any passengers. "I can't understand," said Toby, feeling sad. Sometimes the people on the buses laugh at Toby and call him old-fashioned. This made Toby cross. One day, a car stopped nearby, and two children jumped out. "Come and look at this engine," cried a little boy. "That's a nice-looking stout gentleman, followed by them ladies." A nice-looking stout gentleman, followed by his two ladies. "That's a tram engine," explained the stout gentleman. And he's a special kind of steam train. "Can we have a ride in it?" asked the little girl. They all climbed into Henrietta, and the guard blew his whistle. Toby set off, feeling proud that he had passengers. "Hip hip hooray!" sang Henrietta as he rattled along. The stout gentleman and his family, he enjoyed their ride. "Thank you, Toby," they said. "Beep, beep," whistled Toby. He in reply, "Come back again soon." "We will," called the family, and they waved goodbye. As time passed, Henrietta had fewer and fewer trucks to take to the main line, and had no passengers at all. One morning, the driver looked very sad. "It's our last day, Toby," he said. "The manager says we must close tomorrow." At the end of the line, Toby puffed sadly to his shed. "Nobody wants me," he said unhappily. But the next morning, Toby had a big surprise. A letter had arrived. For his driver. The stout gentleman, said the driver. "It's from the stout gentleman," said his driver. "Do you remember them, Toby?" "I remember them very well," said Toby. "He knows how to speak to engines." "No wonder," said his driver. "The stout gentleman was Sir Topham Hatt. Sir Topham Hatt needs extra help on his railway, and he thought you would be a nice little engine. And he met for the holiday. Could hardly believe it." Toby and Henrietta set off that day. They were excited. When they arrived at Timothy's shed, Sir Topham Hatt came to meet them. Thank you very much for asking me to come, sir," said Toby. I'm glad that you're here, Toby, said Sir Topham Hatt. I hope you will work hard and be a real useful engine, just like Thomas. I'll try, sir, said Toby. Thomas came up to say hello. He showed Toby what to do, and they were soon good friends. Toby loved working on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. Next to Thomas's branch line was this little cottage with the lady who didn't like to see Toby and Thomas pass by. He always waved out of her window. That's Mrs. Kindly, Thomas told Toby. He isn't very well, and he has to stay in bed all day. Poor lady, said Toby. I wish we could help her. From then on, Toby and Thomas always whistled to Mrs. Kindly when they passed her cottage. One day, it was raining hard. As Thomas hurried along the track, with Toby following behind him, suddenly, Thomas's driver spotted Mrs. Kindly's cottage. Something's wrong, he said. A big red cloth was waving out of the window. Out of the cottage window. Perhaps Mrs. Kindly needs help, said Thomas's fireman. Thomas stopped carefully just before the bend in the track. Thomas's driver and fireman hurried to the cottage, but when they looked around the bend and in the track, they understood why Mrs. Kindly had stopped them. A landslide, said the driver. Mrs. Kindly saved our lives. Mrs. Kindly had seen the landslide and had waved her red dress and gown out of the window to warn the engines. The line was cleared the next day, and a very special train puffed along the branch line towards Mrs. Kindly's cottage. First came Toby, then Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, and last of all came Henrietta. Sir Topham Hatt was there too. Everyone wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Kindly. When they reached the bend and in the track, they stopped. The people who climbed out and climbed up to the cottage. Toby and Thomas wished they could go too. Thomas's driver gave Mrs. Kindly a new dressing gown. The guard gave her some grapes, and Toby and Thomas sent her coal as a present. The engines and I would like to give you those tickets for a trip to the seaside, said Sir Topham Hatt. We hope you will get better in the sunshine. You are very kind, said Mrs. Kindly. Toby and Thomas blew their whistles to say thank you. Toby felt happy that he came to work on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. Hip hip hooray, sang Henrietta.